Hello, my cuties. How y'all doing today? Hope you're doing good today. Now, today's video is about a man of mystery. A man of murder. Some say he may have been Jack the Ripper. H. Holmes. Now, we're going to go over the 10 deadliest rooms in H. Holmes Murder Castle. Now, plenty of hotels have had their share of ghost stories. But the sinister presence that stalked and murdered visitors in the World's Fair Hotel, widely known today as the spooky Chicago Murder Castle, was very human. The castle was a sprawling 3-story labyrinth of deadly traps and torture chambers designed by one of the most twisted serial killers in American history. Herman Webster Mudgett, better known as H. Holmes. Nobody knows exactly how many people Holmes really killed, but before his death, he confessed to at least 27, that's right, 27 murders, which, according to his descendant, Jeff Mudgett, might have even included the killings of Jack the Ripper. The true nature of H. Holmes Murder Castle was kept so secret that not even its architects understood the whole layout. Holmes used the hotel's confusing claustrophobic design to isolate and trap his victims. And until his capture in 1894, he was the only one who knew every grisly detail and secret of the building. The Chicago Tribune published a lurid description of all the crazy death traps in Holmes Murder Castle. And in an 1895 article, and any unsuspecting former guest finally found out about the horrific ways H. Holmes murdered people in soundproof, airtight, making me claustrophobic, pitch black rooms, just a wall away. Today, a post office occupies the same land where the murder castle once stood. Maintenance workers have reported feeling and seeing strange things in the basement, where Holmes kept the nightmarish collection of tools and torture devices that many visitors only discovered when it was too late. Now, among the many hidden trapdoors and chutes in the murder castle was a completely sealed up chamber in the middle of the second floor. The secret hideaway was disguised as an extra room at the back of the dark closet, but anyone who tried to open the door to this extra room would find only a wall. After tearing down the wall, police discovered the real entrance of the room. A trapdoor in the corner of the ceiling, which could only be accessed by climbing through a fake elevator chute. Cat there. Now, there was no other way in or out of the pitch black room, and the ceiling trapdoor opened from the outside. This left only one choice for anyone trapped inside: a slow death by starvation alone in the dark. The other one, number 2. If there was one thing H.H. Holmes was better than using a whole house as a murder weapon, it was inventing new ways to asphyxiate people. On the 3rd floor of the murder castle, Holmes installed a soundproof, airtight vault lined with steel and equipped with a gas flame, which he claimed was there to provide a light source by blowing on any of the air pipes. Now, by blowing on any of the air pipes connected to the vault, Holmes could extinguish the gas flame, and anyone unlucky enough to be trapped inside would quickly suffocate. One of his victims, Annie Williams, was tricked into entering the vault when Holmes asked her to retrieve a file for him. Investigators later found claw marks in the vault where she had tried in vain to scratch her way to freedom. Number 3. Several of the secret rooms in the murder castle were lined with iron. In most cases, the iron walls were meant to soundproof the rooms, but in one room, they served a far deadlier purpose. This room was lined not only with sheet iron, but also with asbestos. And investigators who discovered it found evidence of fire. Like many of the castle's other rooms and torture chambers, the iron-lined room was also fitted with gas pipes that could be controlled from Holmes' bedrooms. The presence of the gas pipe, the extra asbestos lining, and the signs of fire all suggest that Holmes intended this room to be both fireproof and escape-proof. The perfect place to roast a human alive. Number 4, the scariest devices found in the basement of Holmes Murder Castle were meant for getting rid of dead bodies rather than torturing living ones. For instance, the human-sized stove and vats of acid. Unfortunately, some of his victims were subjected to particularly nasty exception. A stretching rack. Holmes used the rack, which he called an elasticity rack, determinator, to perform experiments that measured how far a person could be stretched. Victims were slowly stretched and bent until their bones were broken, and they eventually succumbed to death. Holmes would then dissolve the bodies with acid or disintegrate them in his giant kindling, never to be seen again. Number 5 is the second floor of the castle, which was the perfect stalking ground for a murderer thanks to its network of peepholes and secret entrances. Some rooms had false walls that hinged open, and others, hidden doors led to secret chambers that only Holmes knew how to navigate. These entrances were either disguised as regular doors or hidden so cleverly that guests had no reason to suspect that anything was wrong. Even visitors who stayed safely in their rooms were at risk of being ambushed by their murderous host. Even the hallway and doors of the murder castle were designed to guide H.H. Holmes' victims to their deaths. Some rooms had multiple doors, while others had none at all. With so many ways to get from one side of the hotel to another, only someone familiar with the design would really know the best way to get around quickly. The south end of the hotel's second floor, on the other hand, was a claustrophobic mess of narrow, doorless hallways set at odd angles. Holmes used this carefully planned layout to mislead, confuse, and ambush his guests, who never stood a chance of finding the right way out again. Seven. When investigators, searched the castle after Holmes was arrested, one of the most disturbing things they discovered was a system of gas pipes hidden in the walls and the floors. These pipes were connected to valves in Holmes' personal rooms so he could let gas flood into the rooms of his peacefully sleeping victims at any time, killing them slowly and silently by asphyxiation. Not even people with whom Holmes was close to could trust that they wouldn't be secretly gassed to death. Chicago authorities believed that this might have been how he killed his mistress and bookkeeper, Julia Connor. 8. Sorry, my nose is ready. It's got cold. Sure, an alarm system doesn't sound like a death trap, but if a serial killer uses it to monitor the movements of guests wandering around his murder hotel at night, it might as well be. The murder castle was equipped with a complex system of alarms that sounded a buzzer in Holmes's room whenever a guest opened a door. This meant that Holmes was tipped off whenever anyone left the bedroom in the middle of the night. It also ensured that even if someone managed to escape from one of the hidden torture chambers scattered throughout the second floor of the building, they would be able to leave undetected. In effect, H.H. Holmes even had a modern security system, just so that he could kill people as effectively as possible. Modern day tech guru right there. Yep. And number 9. When Holmes wasn't getting rid of his guests' body or subjecting them to excruciating torture in the basement of the murder castle, he was busy conducting experiments on them. That must have been pleasant. After sending dead or unconscious captives down a secret chute to the basement, those who weren't dissolved in acid or stretched to death found themselves on Holmes's operating table. Holmes used his basement laboratory to dissect these victims and perform macabre medical experiments on them with the help of various surgical instruments and poisons. He then removed their organs and cleaned the remaining flesh from their skeletons, which he sold to doctors and medical departments as anatomical models. Anatomically correct, wasn't it? And last, number 10. Most of Holmes's contraptions were designed to kill his victims remotely, but one was set aside for a more hands-on method of murder. Holmes apparently enjoyed strangling people so much that an entire room of the murder castle was labeled the Hanging Secret Chamber by the investigators who discovered it. After stalking and isolating his victims throughout a network of hidden passages, Holmes would knock them out with chloroform. Then he dragged them back to the hidden hanging room to meet their fates. Well, my cuties, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. Make sure you hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. What are you waiting for? And hit that notification bell so you know my videos go up. I love you, cuties. Till the next video. Bye.